birds flying high, you know how I feel. It's a new life for me, yeah. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Good.
All right.
I know that you're the son of a preacher.
Preacher's son, yeah.
So what was that like growing up?
Okay, well, Sundays, I always knew what I was going to do on a Sunday. No matter what is going to happen, I always knew I'd be at church. It didn't matter if there was a game or not, I was going to be at church. I think the most powerful part about being a preacher's son is you learn about leadership.
Okay.
You know, and so my father was a leader, and so there are some qualities of being the prince of a leader, I think, when you are a preacher's son. So that's a fascinating thing from my childhood, where, you know, being a preacher's son, I was the leader's son, so to speak.
Okay. What was that like actually connecting with other kids? Was there any difficulty?
Well, okay, so there was never, for me, I don't think I ever experienced any difficulty because I was a preacher's son. I think what I discovered is that there is a mythology that preachers' children are the baddest kids. And so kids would be inclined to be like, well, you are a preacher's son if I ever did anything. Which was, you know, yeah, that was why. That's why I did it. Because I was a preacher's son. I had nothing to do with anything else.
What was the relationship like between you and your dad?
It was an interesting relationship because my dad was 45, 46 when he had me. So the differences in our age range always caused him to be slightly like a grandfather. So our relationship was one where I really just revered the man. Like I grew up with this sense that I was privileged to be his son, and I was fortunate to have him in my life, and I think that carries through to today. You know, he's passed, but I loved my dad, man. It was more fun than I could. He was brilliant, and I had as a smart kid, as a smart young man, I had a great time being around a brilliant dude.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. What were some of the things that stick out with you the most as a child that he passed on to you?
One of my favorite conversations, right? I must have been about 8. And this is how, so to frame our dialogues, if it was important to him, he'd say, so you know I got this diabetes. I could die today. And you need to know this. And one of the first things he ever said to me was, in social matters, you never let them see you sweat.
Okay.
And as I developed it, and the more we discussed that, it really meant, you know, you stay calm in social circumstances to assess the circumstances properly. Like, don't become hysterical. Stay calm. People need calm heads in a crisis, and you should be prepared to be one of those heads. So that was an interesting lesson to learn early on, like 8 or 9. Another thing that he gave me, which is interesting, is he told me, because he was big into politics. He said, you got to give your enemy a weakness. Don't let them find your real one. Wow. I thought that was a fascinating insight that I'll share with humanity from my dad, right? So those are some of the things that stand out. And another thing he told me that I think about all the time is numbers don't lie.
Okay.
So, you know, I just think that's a good business.
Numbers don't lie.
Numbers don't lie. You know, the numbers are what they are. You can lie about the numbers.
Yeah.
But, you know, you either got 2 pennies or you don't. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
The numbers are what they are. Everything I've seen that is man-made started with an idea.
ideas, though they are things, they are a lot like seeds in my mind, you know? And so they have to be cared for, they have to be nurtured, they have to be made manifest. Yeah, that seed is a tree. That seed is an apple tree, but we got to get there to get apples. I don't care how many of them seeds you eat, you're not gonna grow apples unless you go about the process.